So we need to work on that. How do we do that? Early warning is the solution. As I said, one side you find a lot of water, but on the other side you find lack of water. The solution, of course, is the early warning. Early warning, when we talk about early warning, is not just the issues of med service. It's a multi-sectoral issues. That's why it is incorporated those 4 pillars that Dr. Kichaz has presented here. And I'm going to talk what are we doing in Mozambique regarding the early warning in those 4 pillars. The first pillar for the early warning, of course, an effective early warning, it's what we are talking about, effective early warning. Of course, early warning all the country has got, but are they working? Are they effective? Are they giving result? So we are talking about an effective early warning system. The pillar 1 is for disaster risk knowledge, where we come up with a systematic collect data and undertake risk assessment. In our country, who is in charge of this is the National Institute for Disaster Management. And I just brought here some few activities that has community with knowledge of hazards and vulnerability before we reach the med service. So we need to bring this knowledge to the community. Otherwise, they won't, of course, understand what are the contents of the bulletin, despite that we have some people that have studied, they have a university degree, but if you go deeper at the community, we find those that they don't even know how to write, how to read. So this one here, what are we doing? We have created what we call the local community for disaster management. Between community, there are those who have a little bit of knowledge, they went to school and they are capable of transmitting the information in cascade. So this group, they are under disaster management institution. They are placed in all the provinces as well as the districts until the community, so that those are the ones who translate the information to the people in the community when they say, let's evacuate. But of course, there are those who cannot go, or they refuse to go because they have their goods, their cows. I cannot leave my cows because they will be stolen. All my money is here. It's not in the bank. It's here. I don't have my house. This is my treasure. So how do you keep them forcibly to the safe place? This is a gap. Yeah, we can put this in this wall of the gaps. The knowledge on the patterns and the trend is in those factors. Colleague here was mentioned about the connection between social science and this social and the science must come together. Yes, the answer is in the academia. So we need to take the academia to bring this information. The things are happening, but what the people want, the community want, is the response. And who will give the response? It's academia. So that after that, the technician at med service can use the result for academia, IPCC reports and other general reports about the climate. Availability of risk. I have 10 minutes. Okay, I must go fast. Availability of the risk maps and the data. This is the beginning. If you don't know where normal the event happens, so we want to pass forecast, you want to be able to prevent. To prevent, you use what happened in the future, in the present, so that you can say what's going to happen in the future. So Mozambique has created the Council of Ministers. They have created what we call the Technical Commission for Climate Change. Those are responsible to bring the information for academia to advise the government what to do in the future, take in consideration what is happening in Mozambique. The pillar number 2, which is observation, monitor, and forecast. Of course, this is under med service at the national level. We need to expand the hydrological observation network. This is the beginning. You cannot, let's say, improve your forecast if you don't have tools to observe. As I said, to do the forecast, you need to observe the past, the present, so that you can say what's happened in the future. So the observation is the priority. And for this, the governor of Mozambique, through the president of the Republic, he has established what we call a presidential initiative, one district, one meteorological station, so that by 2027, we could fill all the districts with at least one meteorological station. For all we know that the more points of observation we have, the better, but we want at least to have this established. The maintenance of station on GBON network, the colleague Dr. Agnes has mentioned about the SOF. Mozambique is one of beneficiary of this fund. They have received, the money is already there for 7.4 million US dollar. And they have the colleagues from South Africa Weather Service now, they are in Mozambique, because South Africa Weather Service is preparing advice for Mozambique for this project. So we want really to come up with a solution for this problem of installing station. 6 months later, the station is not working. And this, of course, will be one of the questions for partners here. When we launch a tender, we go for the lowest price. 1 year, we go to 3 stations from one company. Next year, who won is another company, which is different of the first one. And those two equipment, they don't talk each other. If you want to connect them to transmit in real time to the server, you get a problem of this or with that. So how do we come up with those kind of, I know each one has its own patent and it's difficult to share the codes and this thing, but how do we do? Because we are the one who are facing this problem, okay? Let's think about that. Data digitalization, of course, is one of the priority. Monitor of right parameters, the capacity building that we are having with this partnership, bilateral with some other meteorological service. One of these is Norwegian Met Service. Scientific basis to make forecasts. We are now producing, thanks to the World Food Program, and the technology that they brought, we are now producing drought forecasts. It's something that we didn't have it in the past. The seasonal forecast at Zadek, it was only for the flood precipitation. Now it comes temperature, but we have started now producing drought forecast for Mozambique. And to generate accurate and timely warning, of course, there's a need of tools, and we are doing this with the project of early warning for all that was presented here. We have already launched this. We have already discussed the national plan. What is difficult when we go to national level, as colleague has asked here, who's be leading at the national level, is to bring together all those partners and have unique things. So Mozambique, we have done it. We are doing it. We have what we call National Forum for Disaster Management, where all the institution, water, meteo, and other, they come together and discuss about what is going on with any event, extreme event that happen. This the third pillar, it's the remaining one. One in dissemination of communication. Of course, no matter how the forecast is accurate and the timely transmitted, accurate, and it's not transmitted, of course, we will be wasting effort. So communication is very essential, and med service, they don't own TVs, they don't own radios. So who help them or who help us are the media. We do the product, we give it to media, and the media broadcast this through the radio and the mobile service provider. But what we do with the radios at the low level at community is to translate this information with the local language. For that, we have what we call community radios. And I remember that one of the projects, we bought 2 different radios for 2 districts. And some came and say, is this your business? You should be doing the forecast. Are you buying radios to give it to the community? Say yes, it's a early warning. if we don't come together with a synergy, as good colleagues in South Africa say, so we won't be able to disseminate this information. We'll be remaining with our very good forecast, but the end user will not take it. Provide a clear and usable one information. This has to do with the broadcasters. We are now, we have started the training the broadcaster to understand the technical word, because the complaint that comes that you guys with service, you talk this technical language and we don't understand it. But one day I asked it, have you ever had a daughter at medicine talk about these specific names? But you don't complain of them, but you complain with med service. So we need to, how to say, bring this information to the lowest, but you must be careful because sometimes we will lose the sense of the forecast. The solution to this at World Meteorological Organization is the impact-based forecast. Instead of saying what is going to happen tomorrow, is to say what the weather will cause tomorrow. Let's say, for instance, we have EDI. Do we still have time? No, this is just, it says, with one more, which is for the 4 pillar. For instance, the example of EDI. Before EDI, the knowledge of the people in Mozambique, when we mentioned about a tropical cyclone, they didn't have any idea, because some even they went to the ocean to record the tropical cyclone coming. But after EDI, all the knowledge come inside. Nowadays, when we mention about the presence of any disturbance or system or tropical cyclone, all the people get to be ready because they have this idea. So the impact-based forecast is to say, look, the precipitation, the rain of tomorrow, if I say it will be 200 millimeters, there are people that doesn't know even an idea of millimeters. But if you say the water will reach the level of the windows of that mosque in your village, they will have idea, oh yeah, at that day, at that time, yeah, it was terrible. So we must really evacuate. So this is what we are working, but we have a challenge with fake news. Most of us, we do have mobiles. We assess the websites where they run their models, but what they do, if they take it, start sharing in the WhatsApp groups before the Met Service say anything. Then government, it reaches even the big boss. Then the big boss asking, hey, I'm receiving this message, but you guys, you are quiet. What are you doing? But we do have a standard procedures, standard operation procedures in order to advise, in order to come up with this information. Because if it was just the case of looking the website and send the information, the forecast, they couldn't need to sit in the university 4 years, study all these mathematics and the physics. So this is a big challenge when it comes for fake news. Sometimes the tropical cyclone is going to Australia, but the people are sending information to other and creating panic in Mozambique. Yeah, they say it's coming, it's coming. So it's very difficult to sort out this. The last, the pillar number 4 is the capacity response. As I said, for EDI and the rest of other events, we did a very good forecast. And I remember that the Secretary General from the FAR, they give us a very good, let's say, satisfaction, congratulations. But if you see, we know the risk. The weather forecast did the forecast of the EDI. The information was circulated, the pillar 3, then came the pillar 4. We got the colleague going to the sea to record the tropical cyclone coming. So this is the capacity response. If the capacity response is not there, all the effort done in the 3 pillar will not be efficient. So we need to build national and community response capability. And this is under Red Cross in Mozambique. They know all these things that are here about the contingency plan. At the time the government comes with a contingency plan, then the Red Cross and the other humanitarian institutions, they start also building their work. And one thing of this important with the Red Cross is the finance buys the forecast. What happened most of them is that the disaster is triggered, then the humanitarian people started going to there, but the roads are cut, or you cannot reach the point. So before the system arrives, so the Red Cross must position the goods, the food, everything, water, everything they want in the place where the system will go through. Now, this comes the responsibility of med service. If your forecast is wrong, then you will take all these tracks with your food for another place, and the system will go to another place. They have again to evacuate, so it's a lot of money spent. So this is what I would like to present here, what we are doing. Of course, this is the last one, the synergy, the combination of those 4 pillars, not with only the pillar, but of course with the partners here, PPP. So I had the colleague from Kenya saying the same answer. This was cited by Aristotle. He said the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So if we come together, as I said, the spirit of Ubuntu, for instance, in South Africa, I can borrow this word, which means I am because you are. First you, second me. So together, I think we can have the opportunity to come up with this L1 system that we want to serve people. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Senorito. We'll see if we've got time for Q&A at the end. We've got our next speaker now, Awiti Sablon. Are you in the room? Hi. He is the thematic manager for Weather and Climate Services at NORCAP, which is part of the Norwegian Refugee Council.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As I've been introduced, I'm Awiti Sablon. I work with the Norwegian Capacity, which is part of the Norwegian Refugee Council. So I've met a few, participants in this group, and most of them are not aware of who NORCAP is. So I'll start by first introducing who NORCAP is, and then go into how we are supporting, early warning, initiatives in the continent. So NORCAP is part of, the Norwegian Refugee Council, and we were started in 1990 during the Gulf War. And the initial mission was for rapid deployment of experts to UN agencies to address humanitarian crisis that was in Iraq. But thereafter, we have developed a number of programs that are, beyond humanitarian. So we are working in development, peace, and as well as humanitarian within the nexus. And we have 5 key strategic objective areas where we are working. And one of them is to promote climate action and sustainable response. So the program where domiciles is on climate, promoting climate and sustainable responses. So in terms of our mode of operation, and this is why we are hardly known, we work through other organizations. So we have a roster of experts, and we deploy these experts or assign them in our partner organizations, deliver specific capacity needs or challenges that our partner organizations want to address. So we work with local, national, and even international partners. So in Africa, we work with the regional climate centers. We work with national meteorological and hydrological services. We also work with the African Union We also work with the private sector. But in the past 2 years, we are also adding another mode of, operation where we are working with our partners together to develop, programs and initiatives and even joint resource mobilization, and then we implement these programs together. So specifically on climate services, our mission is really to improve aid, better protect and care people affected by crisis. And under this, we have two programs. We have what we call, this is the internal definition, climate services, where we are looking at the climate value chain from observation to, delivering this message to the users. We support the capacity needs along that value chain. And of course, our partners here in the regional climate centers and the national meteorological and hydrological services. So we have two strategic sub-objectives, and one of them is to strengthen national response and their development and use of timely and user-driven weather and climate services. And of course, we are also, the second one is on developing advice approaches and helping communities to build resilience. So we work at, the three various levels through our partners. So in climate services, we have three areas we are operating in. So one is strengthening institutional capacity. And this one is basically working with national met services and the regional climate centers to strengthen the capacity, develop appropriate climate products, and deliver them to various users. Of course, communication is part of that. Communication is a key challenge when it comes to Africa, and we are discussing achieving early warning for all. Then I think communication will be a major challenge in this, and it needs a lot of effort because of the contextual issues in Africa. A delegate said if they said there is a snake in this house, but in Africa, you will even consider language and many contextual issues so that you don't say there is snake, but you have to figure out how best to put it so that it is tailored to different contexts and different communities. So that would be a big challenge. Is one of the challenges of achieving early warning for all, and we all need to figure out how best we address delivery of climate information to users, especially the most at risk at the community level. Then we are also looking at accessible climate finance, and here we are working with partners on resource mobilization, but also we are also engaging with private sector to see how the rural communities are able to, climate proof, as much as we provide climate information, we are aware that there are always residual risks that we still need to address. So we are looking at issues like insurance, and these ones are bundled with other information, for example, agricultural advisories. So this is our presence in Africa, currently. So we work with, as I've said, the National Met Service, regional climate centers, and the UN agencies. And what we do with UN agencies mostly is to, assign our experts in supporting them, mainstream or integrate climate considerations into their programs. So one of our major partners in the room is the World Meteorological Organization. So currently we have around 4 experts deployed in the regional office for Africa, in Addis as well as in Nairobi, to support a digital transformation of national med services. So I'll briefly say something about that later. But this does not mean that we are not supporting the other countries. For example, this specific engagement we have with the WMO, we are supporting a number of countries. So the coloring is just showing where our experts are seated and the organization they are seated in. But their support is beyond those countries. And I think in Africa, it is only Central Africa where we are not present. But We were there last week discussing with the ECAS, which is the economic bloc, as well as the regional climate center. So in the coming years, then we'll be engaging with the newly established regional climate center in Central Africa, as well as the REC there, to support them in promoting, climate action in that region as well. So these are just examples of who are we currently working with in really to promote, early warning in the continent. So at continental level, we are working with the African Union, and we are also supporting the AMTOAS project that has just been presented here. So our experts are, two experts. The manager of the whole program is our expert, and also the colleague who did the presentation. Then at regional level, we work with the regional climate centers, and in the situation rooms at ICPAC, as in ACMAD, we are also having our experts. They are supporting in early warning interventions. Then at national level, we are working with national Met services directly or through our engagement with WMO, and especially on digital transformation of national Met services. Then this is just a gist of where our experts are, and these are only support that are relevant to early warning, early action. Of course, we have other experts in other organizations in the continent. So we have a NW expert in Burkina Faso, web development at WMO, GIS development, innovation and climate services, data science and machine learning, and impact. So previously we had two experts in Sudan Met Agency, but after the crisis, we had to relocate them to the regional center. So currently, they are supporting remotely. That's why we have SMA/experts. So they are physically sitting at the regional climate center in East Africa, but supporting the Sudan Met Agency. Then we have a communication expert in Niger Met, and we are also having a climate accelerator program where we are encouraging young female, climate people to gain experience. So we are training them with our senior experts in most of these organizations to gain experience. And it's a way of, gender mainstreaming in climate services. So this is a, nascent program. This is the year we are having the second cohort, and we hope to run it up to 2027 to develop, a large number of, female scientists or experts in climate information. Then, of course, user engagement, and this is the point you are raising on communicating. So these are really social realities that we are putting in National Met Service to help them. How can they engage with users and, at some time co-produce climate information, understand user needs, and how best they can tailor their information that, or advisories that can be used to make decisions that help users alleviate the impacts of the climate extremes. We also have a climate IT expert in Malawi. And this one is helping them also in dissemination and developing tools, public tools, seeing climate information at the public, the public product through, developing apps to enable, users access this information. And the last one is in partnership with Met Norway. So it is a kind of, technology transfer. So this is the work we are doing with WMO, and the challenges we are trying to address through this partnership is, there are challenges in consistent data transmission that the director already mentioned in our presentation, inaccessibility and fragmentation of the systems, lack of interactivity of existing data and product, existing systems were not user driven, so the way we were giving data, or even through digital means, there was no opportunity for users to engage with this data or experience. Then service delivery and warning communication, which has been mentioned here from the start, also we are trying to address that. And there was lack of integration of weather, climate, environment hazards information with social information. So here we are. This is being partly addressed by hazard watch that we are supporting all the national Met services in terms of communicating their information. So these are the specific areas of support under this. So the verification of focal points, of course, data is very important, and communicating and sharing the global is key. Then data transmission challenges, country profile database, and content management system, and CAP activation, and the common alert protocol that was already mentioned, and it is one of the challenges in this activation. So we have to find support the national Met service and unified way of communicating. Then, of course, social media, email marketing, and user data management. These are integrated in the hazard watch. So after the start of this, then this was the increase in designation of given stations. Then this is an example of one of the products that this partnership has worked on, and this was piloted in 11 countries, and I think that this phase now it is being upscaled to additional 50 countries. So it is a simplified multi-hazard risk information. This system will, of course, get information from various sources and integrate it such that the users are able to access this information and even analyze and get products that they would wish from the hazard watch. So of course it strengthens the Met services in terms of visualizing and observation of data. So users are able to visualize. And I have to mention that this is only a category of users. Not all users will interact with this system. So in terms of delivery, we still figure out how can we reach out the last mile users. Then that means we need other modes of delivery. So I'm told my time is running out, but yeah, from the other was then they could do time series, they could do the real time or short-term forecast. Then of course there are also long-term predictions that they can get from the and plot as a user from the system. We are also supporting the National Met Services to develop, the website which is dynamic that they can use to really communicate well, and ensure that part of it is also integrated in the national hazard watch, so that users can also interact with the data and information. And of course, the other added value of this is also the CAP, the common alert protocol, is also integrated, and when registered in the system, then the users who are registered can automatically receive this alert in their phone. So we've also done through this capacity building of national Met service on how to work on all this. So quite a number of training have been done, and this will continue. Then this is almost the last slide, and the work we are doing is the Met service in Malawi, where we trying to improve climate service in digital public goods. Yeah, so we are supported through our partnership with the Norway on developing apps on the mobile where users can, receive the forecast and early warning information. Then the other one is a daily register. We note that in observation stations, the officers there, they observe, they record, then they communicate this to the main office, then the main office will, now put the data in the format that is required before it is transmitted. But in the daily data register, we are creating a system that at the observation station, then this data is formatted and automatically, transmitted. So this one reduces the error in putting it down, communicating to the head office, and then transmitting. So yeah, so these are our added value. Our experts are embedded with the partner organization, so we don't support them, but our experts will sit and work with the partner. We also have that holistic approach, because we really need to understand first what are the challenges and how best. And in some cases, when we are looking for the experts, then we have to work with the partner to ensure that we get the right experts that support or work with them. Then we are also creating a community practice of our experts through cross learning, through their working in different regions of the world. Then we have sessions where they share learnings and from different organizations they are supporting. Then we also promote transfer of knowledge, because we partner with, for example, Med Norway, and through that, then we are supporting knowledge transfer. So thank you.
Many thanks, Awiti. Sorry for making you shorten the end there, but if there's any questions for Awiti, please grab him in the break, because I think we're going to have to keep these a bit shorter to make sure we don't run over too late. We have one last speaker for this session, which is, bear with me, I have messed up in my pages. It's Wenjasida Kumbert, and she's Climate Services Accelerator Expert at the African Centre of Meteorological Application for Development, ACMA. And we are just connecting her because she's with us remotely today.
Good morning, everyone. My name, I don't know if you can hear me.
We can, yes. Thank you. Please begin.
Yes, my name is Wenjasida Kumbert. I am a climate accelerator expert. I work at ACMAD on an ORCAP assignment, and I'm very pleased to present the Africa Multi-Hazard Early Warning and Early Action System at ACMAD. So basically, I will first present an overview of ACMAD, then I will present the value chain to support the early warning, and I will go through the product and services available. Who we are. ACMAD has been created in 1985 and established since 1992 in Niger, with a mission to be a continental weather and climate watch center. It is designated a designated regional climate center for Africa since 2015, and since October 2022, it hosts the Continental Multi-Hazard Advisory Center for Africa in the AMEWAS initiative. So basically, we do weather and climate monitoring, watch forecasting, we issue early warning. We also build the capacity of national met services in weather and climate prediction. We co-produce and collaborate with some partners to support early warning. And in the AMEWAS initiative, we contribute with the disaster report and the continental watch. We also do some research in order to keep improving the product. And our key area of expertise include the agriculture sector, the GRR sector, and the health sector. We also provide climate services for water and infrastructure. So this map represents the value chain to support the early warning, and the bridges represent the necessary partnership when the maintenance add the needed expertise to operate warnings. And when we go through the value chain at each level from observation to warning and up to the decision makers, we see that co-production and co-design is really very important at each level. So now I'm going to present some of our products to support early warning. At ACMAD, we have the multi-hazard bulletin issued 2 times a week, and which gather actionable information to support early warning. This is the case of flood happened in Somalia in November 5, 2023. And in the vigilance map, you can see here, we anticipated the hazard 4 days ahead of the event, and we sent advisory to the National Met of Somalia and also the humanitarian actors. And we also closely monitored the system with the Somalia Mets. And when the flood happened, it affected more than 100,000 people. And this highlights the gap between the impact the impact-based forecast from the warning to the action. So when we move along the value chain to impact outlook, to the action implementation, we see that there is a need to do the briefings with the DRR and humanitarian actors in order to accelerate the anticipatory actions. This is the example of flood happened in Niger in 2022, when the vigilance map anticipated the event for days ahead, and the advisory was sent to relevant stakeholders and national Met. And also, again, when the event happened, it affected many people and did a lot of damages. So these are some examples of products available to support the early warning information for drought. And we have the African Drought Monitoring and Advisory System, which is a real-time system that monitors the drought across Africa and give early warning. And in this map, we have a recent map that highlight an actionable indicators and give an overview of the severe drought that affecting the southern part of Africa currently. We also have an interactive platform which monitor the onset and give outlook for wet and dry spell in order to support the crop calendar updates. And in this map below, we have one of our key products, which is the brief for policy and decision makers. And this product gives a outlook of significant weather and climate events with potential impact across Africa. And this product is issued after the African Continental Climate Outlook Forum, updated each month, which all the RCC experts brought together tools and methodology in order to issue an harmonized and efficient impact-based forecast. At ACMAD, we also track the tropical cyclone over Indian Ocean, and we issue advisory. This is the case of cyclone Chenozo, happened last year in January. And in the map here, we can see that almost all the models predicted the cyclone to fall over the Indian Ocean. But what happened is that the cyclone went through the Mozambique Channel and hit Madagascar as well as Tanzania. And this shows also the limit of model prediction in terms of the early warning value chain. So we also have some product to support the early warning for health, and this is the vigilance map for heat waves. At my left and at my right, we have the meningitis outlook and advisory. We closely monitor the meningitis with the WHO Afro network, and we participate in bi-weekly briefing where we give overview of favorable weather situation that can lead to meningitis outbreak. So these are some examples of co-production for anticipatory action. As we said, we collaborate with the AUC Situation Room in the AMOAS initiative, and we contribute to the Continental Watch as well as the Disaster Situation Report. So this one is an example of collaboration with UNHCR, where we issue impact-based forecast in the framework of WMO coordination mechanism. So these are some examples of co-produced knowledge materials with UN partners. This is on this map, and this map, it shows how, for instance, UN OCHA used the impact-based forecast in the policy brief for decision makers and the seasonal outlook to actually identify the number of people that can be affected by flood during the rainy season over the Western and Central Africa. So to achieve early warning for all, effective communication is really key. So at ACMAD, we coordinate a briefing with National Med Services experts when we anticipate severe event. And it's a framework where national forecasters and ACMAD experts can exchange tool, method, and experience in order to issue impact information for decision makers. We also have special briefings and statements for Africa Working Group on DRR, for WHO, for the Regional Committee for Disaster Management in West Africa, as well as other UN agencies. We organize policy dialogue days when we anticipate in the long term or in the short term severe event. It was, for example, the case of the impact of El Nino. Last year, we organized a policy brief to actually bring together policy and decision makers in order to understand the drought that is currently affecting the southern part of Africa. So we also have a feedback mechanism that enables us to engage with our users in order to keep improving our forecast. And we leverage on all the communication resources and channels to ensure that information reaches to the last mile and a big audience. I would like to summarize and saying that it's very important to raise awareness of policymakers on the availability of impact-based forecast and actionable information that can support their decision-making. We also think that's very important to build the capacity of forecasters and disasters experts at national level in using and building impact-based forecasts at national level. The collaboration is very important. So it's important to strengthen collaboration between institutions and accelerate as well a better access to data, because without data, we cannot have accurate forecasts, we cannot have efficient warning that can support the decision-making. So I would like to end with these pictures that shows a collaboration with some of our partners to actually send a message to achieve early warning for all. Collaboration is really key, and it's all about partnership. Thank you very much. Over to you, Carrie.
many thanks to everybody there. So it's break time now, we're going to go straight to break time, 20 minutes. Please head over into our sort of networking area, grab yourself a cold or hot drink. Carry on the conversation.